Well, here we are again. People joining together on YouTube to speak out against discrimination. And our latest story that we hear about is that of Tyler Clemente, who is no longer with us because people just can't seem to grasp and understand that torturing and terrorizing and discriminating and picking on and invading privacy of other people, they don't seem to realize how destructive they are. And if they do it on purpose because they do realize how destructive they are, and they think it's funny in some type of misunderstood, twisted, and sick way. They think it's funny. And, you know, it's what can be said that has not already been said, honestly. It's said over and over again, statements made. We need to speak out. We need to stop the bullies. We need to rally together. And yet, I never see more people speak out than until something happens like this. It's like we all sit around and wait for things like this to take place. Like we need an example of someone's death in order to realize what we should already realize, and that discriminating and torturing and picking on and pushing around and doing idiotic things like uh, trying to videotape somebody's personal moments and trying to, pushing people down flights of stairs, torturing people, calling people discriminatory names. It's as if we need an example to understand that there's something wrong with all of these things. It's like society as a whole has lost its common sense. And you know what else I find funny is that on a video I did a while back, about the boy who did the who refused to do the Pledge of Allegiance until gay people are given all the same rights as every other people in this country. And there was one statement made where he said, "Intelligence does not mean capability." And there was another one who called me a gay prick who thinks he's more intelligent and more loving because he has a video camera. And to both of those statements I say, why is it that people so often, instead of viewing the whole story, instead of understanding someone completely, they pick maybe one word or one phrase or one video to focus on? They have no idea what they're talking about, and yet they create this entire opinion and assumption on a person they don't even know, that they saw on YouTube and obviously saw the title and decided to make such a statement. And the first statement is not so bad. Intelligence does not mean capability. Of course, intelligence does not mean capability. But if you were to understand me more, if you were to have looked at other of my videos, if you would have come to me and spoken to me in a more way of wanting to understand instead of a way of just wanting to shoot people down, which everybody seems to do nowadays, then you would realize that in your statement, you're making intelligence look like it's only one thing. Like people can only be intelligent in one way. And in today's society, intelligence is measured on how much education you have, whether you've gone to college, whether you're a rocket scientist or you work at McDonald's. Well, you know what? Intelligence is not, that's not how I see intelligence. I see intelligence by knowledge of what people know to be right and what people know to be wrong. And if you ask me, someone who realizes that discrimination is wrong versus someone who thinks discrimination is okay, obviously the other is more intelligent to me, anyways. But that's my personal opinion. I don't get on here to tell you this is how you should live. I get on here to share my point of view with you, so you can share yours with me, and we can learn from one another. Not so we can sit here and argue and fight and bicker and go back and forth, because the truth is no one personal peaceful opinion is the answer to everything. No one person on this planet has all the answers. It's going to take everybody as a whole to realize that we need to share and cooperate with one another in order to create a better society for everybody. But we live in a world where everybody thinks that what they think is right, and that everybody else should just listen to them. That we either all need to be Christians, or we all need to be atheists, or we all need to be religious, or we all need to be non-religious. There's never a happy medium because, and I always hear from both sides, well, they say this and they say that, and I'm sure I'll get a whole bunch of different opinions from people saying, oh, well, you can't cooperate with these kind of people, you can't understand these kind of people, you can't live like that, you can't live this way. How about instead, we just live? Just live. Have a life. Live in a way where you know and understand to be kind and to love one another and to treat each other with respect and not to pick on one another and hurt one another and go out of your way to find personal information about an individual because you want to harm them and hurt them in the worst possible way that you can imagine. How about we do that instead? When you say, oh, well, you can't just live. There's so many labels in this world and so many different opinions. Watch me. You go ahead and watch me. I will be your, what do you call it, example. I will be your example of a person who can live and who can love and understand all people. Because it is possible and it can happen. But in order to do that, you must open yourself to the possibility that you are not always correct. I've opened myself to that understanding. I'm not always right. I am learning every single day, of every single moment of my entire life. And the moment that you reach a point where you think you know it all and you have it all figured out, you better slap yourself a billion times, turn around, go back the other direction, and realize that you need to keep on learning. To continue to keep on learning and to continue to open your mind to every possibility and understanding out there that does not cause harm to other people and does not infringe on the rights of others and does not join with the majority in order to oppress the minority. I love how people take the little things that I say and they focus on that, and I can only imagine that everything else that was said in that video, the good that was in that video, the idea that somebody was standing up because they knew other people weren't being treated equally as everybody else, that was all lost because of one tiny little phrase. Because they wanted to sit there and assume that they were being attacked because there are actually people out there who want to fight and argue. They want a reason to go after you, and they find these tiny little itty-bitty pieces, and they grab that and they pick it apart, and they turn it into this huge opinion that has nothing to do with what you were talking about in the first place. Because these people want to fight, they want to argue, they want to, instead of giving an answer, an opinion, or a belief, they want to just fight with you. And that's too bad. Rest in peace, Tyler Clemente.